welcome to Let's Talk Diz, a show that gives you everything you need to know to help make your Disney vacation as magical as can be in just about 20 minutes. I'm your host, Jeff Coviello. With me each week is Disney Master Sandy from Easy Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services. Sandy, how are you this week?
You know, I was a little confused by your intro because tonight we're not going to talk Diz.
We are not going to talk Diz, as the show does imply, but tonight we are going to go across Orlando to bring you something completely epic.
I was very lucky. You are obviously alluding to Universal's new Epic Universe, and I was able to get in a preview last week, so I want to share it all with you because we do sometimes have to admit that Orlando does have more than just Disney. So we book Universal vacations as well, and we've done a couple of Universal episodes, but tonight's is really something special. I think you're all going to want to hear about this new park.
So tell us how we got here. Give us an overview of what this new park is and essentially how we arrived here.
So depending how you count, and I always joke, you and I talk about this, how the theme parks count differently than you and I do for how many parks they have. This is really their third park. They'll tell you it's their fourth park in Orlando. We've got Universal Studios, Islands of Adventure. They consider Volcano Bay, their water park, the third. And now Epic Universe, the fourth. Universal is very different than Disney in their pre-planning. They kind of are what I'll consider the Disneyland of Orlando.
Okay.
They don't have the luxury of space.
Right.
And so this Epic Universe was actually land that wasn't purchased that long ago. But that's why it's not right next to their other two parks. It is about an 18-minute bus ride from most of the hotels. And some of you may be thinking, oh, we go almost that far at Disney. But I came to a realization when riding home on the bus that night. The real difference here is you are driving on the bus through downtown Orlando. There's traffic and traffic lights and people commuting and turning into Walmart and everything under the sun. So you don't have that Universal bubble. Not necessarily bad, just different.
Right.
This park they built with a real master plan in mind. It has 5 very distinct lands, and you enter into each land and they do a phenomenal job of transporting you there. You just can't help but be immersed, and you don't see and hear all the other sounds. And when you're in Nintendo or you're in How to Train Your Dragon, you're just there and focused, and you don't even realize there's more park out there. So great job to them on that. One of the other things that when we've talked about a Universal vacation before is that unlike Disney, again, you'll hear a bunch of comparisons tonight. Well, there are Universal hotels. They technically don't own any of them. All of their hotels are in partnership with Lowe's. For the longest time, they only had 3 hotels. And if you stayed on site at those 3 hotels, besides the early entry, one of the great perks that you got was Express Pass. And frankly, their Express Pass is better than Genie and Fast Pass and MultiPass that we're currently on, because it's a walk up and get online. You don't need to make a reservation. If you've got the one from those hotels, you can go on the same ride 3 times if you want. It's a great thing.
Right.
Over the last probably about 7-8 years, they've expanded to a whopping 11 hotels now.
That's a big cry from 3.
It's a big cry from 3. They've got values, they've got moderates, premiers, but only those original 3, carry that Express Pass, except nobody automatically gets it for Epic. And I'll be honest, that's a big game changer in talking to people and recommending hotels.
Sure.
The Express Pass can add anywhere from typically about $90 to $200 and change per person per day. So when it's included, it's easier to justify that deluxe resort price.
Yeah.
Some of their moderates are actually my favorite. I love Aventura and Sapphire Falls, which don't have that express. So that's something we're looking at more carefully with clients going to Epic.
Got it.
And then the last thing that they have introduced at Epic that I actually just got an email today that they introduced it in Disneyland, and it was something you and I talked about after your Walt Disney World vacation last week. The new technology that is similar to what TSA is using, that photo recognition at the entry to match you to your ticket, to stop all of that ticket scalping and reselling and partially used ticket reselling. So if you're somebody who's very against that technology where they claim, it's not saving everything under the sun, we'll have you look up some details before you decide to go, but that's the way everything is going now. So again, being brand new 2025, this park is all about technology.
Well, so it's appropriate that we lead with the most influential technology that we can talk about, which is the video game world. Tell us about Nintendo, because for me, as somebody who grew up as a kid of the 80s, Nintendo was a huge part of my childhood, and it's obviously just grown more and more popular globally. A lot of people my age, and definitely kids of people my age, are super excited for this park. So tell us all about Nintendo.
I have to say again, it's where you'll see my age show. The Donkey Kong section was definitely
It's awesome.
kind of the me thing.
Yeah.
But this park is made up of 5 lands, Nintendo being one of them. And for the 5 lands, the idea is they literally have this giant portal that you walk through. And as you walk through, you can't see the land that you're going into. You walk in and you go through this transformation.
That's cool.
And so for Nintendo, again, unique, something we don't see in a lot of theme parks, you enter and go right up these giant escalators. Green lights all the way up the escalator. A real unique thing, again, about Universal, because they don't have that luxury of land, they work hard to compress the space. They do a phenomenal job of using it well. But it surprised me to have escalators into a section of a park.
Yeah.
And then once I got to the top, there were stairs to go down levels because this land was multi-level.
Huh.
That's not something that we see elsewhere. And for those of you with strollers, I will say there were a good number of spots throughout Epic that I was like, wow, there's stairs here.
Right.
So,
how do you get there? It's like ADA compliance too.
An issue. There are definitely ramps and elevators and things, but I think it's something that we very rarely see in other theme parks. But it was, I think, part of how they really brought you into that universe, because this multi-level thing where you could look all around and look up, down, left, right. I mean, you were kind of, picture yourself standing in the middle of the square and all the way around you is going off in Nintendo noises.
Yeah. It's like sensory overload.
They do have a special Nintendo band, and I highly suggest at least one per party, probably one per child. You can buy them in advance, but there's no savings. You can get them the minute you walk into the park. You can get them at all the on-site resorts. Currently, they're $42 plus tax. And if you don't have a band, there are many things you won't be able to do in the Nintendoverse.
Got it. Okay, so just
that band, you're smacking boxes and racking up keys, and you're feeding different things, and
all the interactive stuff.
It totally interactive.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, so tell us about some of the other stuff.
One of the things that I thought was unique is a lot of these interactive things are single person at a time.
Okay.
Or small group, 2, 3, 4 people.
Sure.
But I was surprised the queues for these things held about 8 people. and they were never full when I was there. Now,
Huh.
that's going to change if you're going opening week or two. But again, there's so much to do that it really moves the lines along.
Okay. What were some of the
Their
things there,
big
like attractions?
highlight is Mario Kart, a 3D experience, a ride through, 40-inch height requirement. And again, like I say about a lot of other things, you can buy the express pass for this. If you don't, look at the time. If the time is high, come back later. And if you're unsure, ask. They're very kind there. I said to the woman at the entrance to the ride, it was 75 minutes when I got there. And I said, that's a really long time. I said, I know you're new, but is 75 average, long, or short? She's like, that's the longest I've ever seen it. So I went, I did Yoshi's Adventure, I did the Minecart Madness. I found the bathroom, which does not sound like an accomplishment, but it was. Um, and grabbed a special cake made for me by Princess Peach. And then I went
Nice.
back to Mario Kart, and it was a 25-minute wait.
Okay, so it's timing.
It's definitely timing. Great experience. Again, that 3D ride, you're going to put on a headset. Pro tip, if 3D isn't your thing, but you want to try it and partway through it's really not your thing, flip up the visor. You won't have any issues with the motion.
So you've got the Mario Kart, you've got the Minecart Madness. That's the one with Donkey Kong, correct?
Minecart Madness, they actually call it a coaster. And if you've heard me talk, I don't do coasters. But I think when you throw in some water and you turn it kind of into a part coaster, part flume ride, it's a different thing for me.
Okay.
So be prepared to get soaked, but have a lot of fun.
And Yoshi's Adventure
And
you mentioned too. What is that?
I'm still not really sure. And I wrote it. Um,
is it
when
is
I,
it is it more for little kids? Is it
you know,
for
I won't share the name of the person who said this to me, but you can see Yoshi's Adventure anywhere from Nintendo while you're standing outside.
okay?
And I knew it. You could also see that it went into a building. So I thought you never know whether you're seeing the real essence of the ride or not. So
Sure.
I say to the woman, is that all it does? Or does it pick up speed? Does it twirl? Whatever. And she says, have you ever been to Disney? Yes, I've been. We use the same car, and this is exactly like the Buzz Lightyear ride.
Got it. Okay.
Well, I don't know. There were 3 little egg buttons that lit up on occasion on my dashboard. I smacked them. I have no idea what they went to. There was no scoring. It was a real quick ride through, perfect for little
Got
ones.
it.
Great if you're doing, dividing your party because you're not all height required for Mario
Got it. Sure.
or for Minecart. It's a great way to go. And then when you've done the other thing in this land is they have so many character greet opportunities. It
Cool.
was really neat to see Mario and Luigi come out. Princess Peach came out. I will also say they give Disney a run for their money on souvenir shops.
Wow.
Holy souvenir goodness.
Well, we know how much you love that. So let's move past Nintendo. Tell us about the main area.
So I didn't start with the main area because I'll be honest, I thought it was the least impressive they had.
Okay.
The idea behind it, again, I'll give you my Walt Disney World comparison. It's similar to the hub in Disney. We all know you go down Main Street and there's that circle and all the lands go off of it.
Correct.
But this hub is massive. It's more of an oval and it's very, very large. But the hub itself has rides and restaurants in it. So it's a busy area. It's called Celestial Park. It has a top ride in it, the Stardust Racers, a dual launch 62-mile-an-hour wooden themed coaster.
Wow. Okay.
48-inch height requirement. Definitely head here early. This one gets a huge line.
Sure. I would imagine.
The Constellation Carousel fitting into that celestial nighttime light up idea. All of the horses and swans and imaginary animals in here are lit up even during the day. I sat in the morning, I went back at night expecting to be wowed, but the lights are not as vibrant as I would have loved.
Okay.
There are horses, there are some stationary things if you don't want to go up and down. And then they have this really cool 3-seat vehicle on some of them. So they're an animal with like a almost a booster seat for a small child in the middle. So it works really well for families. They claim that their Astronomica is a ride. It's a kids splash area, fountain run wild kind of area. And then at night, this whole area lights up. If you look during the day, you'll see kind of in the grass and in the gardens, they have all these light up things. I will admit this is the area that fell really short for me. And I will also say, if you're ever in Southern California, I think it fell short for me because last year I went to a place called Sensori, which is acres and acres of light up magic.
Oh,
I
okay.
need to take a ride out there and then revisit.
So
what
your
they did.
brain was comparing them essentially.
My brain was comparing them, and this was like 5% of the light.
Got it. Okay.
You can also end your night in the middle of the park. They have huge fountains that are going all day, but at night they do what they call their Cosmos show. The fountains light up and they dance to music. Again, head out to Bellagio, take some lessons, come back, choreograph something to all of your IP. I kept waiting
Yeah. Okay, I
for
get that.
their music and their theming, but
That's,
so I waited.
It seems like a layup there. I get that. All right, so we got a couple more lands. Let's go over to Dark Universe.
Dark Universe, the next portal. Again, this is an older kids area. 2 big rides, both speed and height. The Curse of the Werewolf, a 40-inch minimum dark ride.
Okay.
And those dark rides, again, I'll give you that Space Mountain comparison. This one is 37 miles an hour. So a bit more than half of that Stardust Racers.
Right.
But the dark makes it feel even faster.
Totally. Yeah,
2 minutes avoiding the werewolf, waiting for sunshine again.
Okay.
And then again, head into the dark, the Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experience, 48-inch minimum with a motion simulator. And if you're used to some of their motion simulators over on the other side of their parks, they offer still cars. That is not an option here.
Got it.
It's all or nothing in the Dark Universe.
Okay. One of the things that my kids, and you know, we're a Disney home, but my kids are super into, and a big reason they want to go is the How to Train Your Dragon land. So tell me about that.
This was my absolute favorite. I could have been here for hours.
It looks amazing.
There's a lot more here than some of the other lands. There's a lot more that's family friendly in this land. And again, they really, in all of the 4 main portals, the attention to detail is just amazing. Everything from how they theme where they put the refill soda machines to the benches that were carved as dragons and things. It was amazing. And the thing that you have to make sure that you time right to do is to go to the Untrainable Dragon show.
Okay.
It will blow your socks off. It's a stage show with music, 25 minutes long, not a bad seat in the house, and the dragons fly. I mean,
that's cool.
Above your head. This is not somewhere, front row is not the best here.
That's cool.
Amazing show. They also have the Viking training camp, which is a massive playground for the kids.
That's awesome. I love those areas.
And well done, and lots of different opportunities, climbing, not climbing, seesaw type thing. But again, all themed for the dragons.
Very cool.
All fully accessible as well, and all nicely shaded. So a real win. 2 rides that you couldn't pay me enough to go on. The Hiccups Wing Gliders, that one I couldn't even watch, frankly. Um, it's a 40-inch minimum height requirement coaster, outdoors 45 miles an hour. And then the Dragon Rally Racers, a 48-inch minimum. They take you 67 feet into the sky, where you will then do barrel rolls above the land.
Jeez.
Not my calling.
Well, it just surprises me too that the height requirements are so high for that area. I figured there would be some lower ones.
So this is the really awesome family one. The Fry Drill, you're going to board your dragon boat. It's a two-headed dragon. 8 people. There are benches, kind of seats set up for each person, 4 on each side of the dragon. But I will say most people opted to stand. And you've got a water gun. So again, if you want to make your Disney comparison, if you've ever been the spectators for Cali River Rapids, how you can shoot guns at people, on your dragon boat, you shoot the gun at the targets to stop it from shooting water at you.
Yeah, it's very cool. So it's something like that. That's cool.
But again, I think as much as I talk about the differences, and this one I think can be key, I'm not going to say that you're not going to get in line or that it's not going to be crowded there. But I was over by the stroller parking there. And, they've got their little stroller parking sign. There wasn't a stroller to be seen. And I just kept looking at the space that was just a little carved out niche that probably held 5 strollers. And I thought, that's a sign of what age does this park cater to for the most part?
Right.
Again, there's stuff for little kids, but it talks about the crowds. If you've been to Disney, stroller parking can be 5 rows of strollers that
very
are
deep.
30 strollers each, and it's somebody's job to repark them all day long. Nobody's reparking 5 strollers.
No.
So
okay,
well,
something to know about.
How to Train Your Dragon portal could have been in there for half a day easily. Now, again, you could spend half a day just in How to Train Your Dragon, but picking wisely and working your way through the day, you could squish 90% of this into one day, especially because one of the things I didn't talk about, I know I talked about the lack of the express pass here, but this is not a regular park ticket. You don't buy a 4-day Universal pass and go into Epic as many days as you want. You buy a 2 or 3-day Universal pass plus 1 Epic Universe day. Right now, it's being sold as a single day to allow everybody the opportunity to get there. I'm sure we'll see that change. It's just a question of when.
So we've got another portal to go to, which is kind of where Universal has begun to hang its hat over the last decade or so, and that's the Harry Potter Ministry of Magic portal.
I will admit, maybe I shouldn't admit this so loudly, but I have not read all of Harry's books. But again, you walk through that portal and you have no doubt where you are.
Yeah.
The theming is amazing. The gift shops, they've got the candy store, but it's not, jelly beans and M&Ms. It's your toads and all of those unique items. Bring your wand here as well. The big thing that you see, especially if you're not a high motion ride person, is this big red circus tent. And I'm a big show person. I will say this one was a little unique for me. I will say if you've got young children, I highly recommend doing a quick preview of the show online to make sure you think it's a family-friendly show. Le Cirque is all about the animals coming to life and then trying to capture the animals and kill them.
Huh.
It is all running through your imagination and these animals that are not like things that we've seen before. It does have a bit of a line because it's a show, so you have to time it right. It has a pre-show that is standing room only. That's a good 6-7 minutes, but if you don't follow the pre-show, you're going to be a little bit lost on what is going on. And then the show itself is about 20 minutes. So it is a 40-minute to an hour experience as you take that chunk of time out of your day.
And what about any rides?
Harry Potter and the Battle of Ministry. It's a 40-inch minimum height requirement, journeying through Paris. Again, incredible detail. You feel like you're in the story. It is a high motion ride. You're in a large vehicle. It kind of reminds me of a Tower of Terror type vehicle. That many people.
Got it.
Semi-open front. But you can do battle for Harry and see how he makes out.
Well, what I love about what you described here is the portals. I love the storytelling, right? It's one of the things that we always love about Disney. We always talk about the Imagineering and then the storytelling. It sounds like they've done a really tremendous job in bringing that here. What else haven't we talked about tonight that you think is worth people knowing?
We didn't talk about Child Swap. They do a great job with Child Swap. All of the rides that have a height requirement, you will go as a family through the queue, and very shortly before it's time to ride, there is a child swap area. So it's kind of behind a little wall. It's got a plaything or two and a spot for, depending on the ride, somewhere between 3 and 6 adults along with a young child to sit. That way you're not far away, and that swap is really easy. You're out of the sun, and it's nice and easy. So don't hesitate to do it. Again,
It's
very
huge.
well thought out there.
It's huge for a family traveling with kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I did not talk about dining at all. There is some sit-down dining. Most of it is through Resi or Open Tables. Again, not all owned by Universal. And there's a lot of great fast food options as well, a lot of walk-up. I did dine in Nintendo, and again, very well thought out. Sit down at your table, mobile order using the QR code on your table. So you're not ordering very far in advance. You've got to be seated to order, and they deliver it to you.
That ain't bad.
And
you can't hate on that.
I have to say, I hate to knock that other side of town now. My mobile order is never as ready as quick as this food came out to me.
That's good.
So they do a really great job with that as well. I think the only thing that we didn't talk about that I was remiss at the beginning when I talked about getting here, that you're going to take a bus from everywhere except the brand new Helos Hotel, which has its own private entrance into the back of the park.
Got it.
So a lot of fun, definitely. You know, there is a perfect audience for everything, and Epic definitely has its place.
Well, and I appreciate you taking the time. I know that there's just a stupid amount of information when a park opens like this. I thank you for taking the time to go down there and for sharing it with everybody, and enjoy the great week.
Thanks. Have an epic week, everybody.
And that's a wrap this week on Let's Talk Diz. If anyone you know could benefit from this or any show, please share, have them like and subscribe. And don't forget to reach out to the folks at Easy Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services for any Disney destination or Orlando destination planning. Make it a great week, and as always, keep making memories.